We start in the Midwest, where recent storms threaten an already fragile recovery. When a bomb cyclone, which is basically a winter hurricane, hit the Midwest last month, it sparked major flooding in Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, and South Dakota. In Nebraska alone, the damage totaled $1 billion. President Donald Trump approved a disaster declaration to free up federal funding to help with relief there. But the massive storm also devastated one of the poorest communities in the country, the sprawling Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. The flooding washed out roads and bridges, trapping some Native Americans in their homes for nearly 2 weeks without access to food and water. Just this week, another blizzard reopened fresh wounds. And between those two storms, our contributing correspondent Joey Chen found a community that's in constant crisis but determined to rebuild.
To the Oglala Lakota people, nothing is more sacred than water. Water, they say, is life. Miniwichoni.
Miniwichoni is our first medicine. We drink water, our body's made of water. Water's got a lot of power behind it, you know. I never knew that until now.
It looks like all this stuff was ruined?
Yes, all this stuff is ruined. All that
power destroyed nearly everything Gloria Red Cloud and her husband built here on the Pine Ridge Reservation. The solar school, where they taught sustainable building techniques, almost swept away by mighty floodwaters that came in the dark of the night.
I never thought a flood would ever come here to us, you know. It was like a river through here. It was terrible.
Pine Ridge is enormous, about the size of Delaware and Rhode Island put together. Only about 20,000 residents live here, though, and it can take weeks for news to get around, even longer for help to come.
When that water came through, it knocked everything down.
Look, to me, it seemed like this didn't bother this, but it took the weakest parts and just
rolled through.
Just went through.
It must have sounded like thunder.
It was a raging river. It was roaring and roaring.
This land has been in Steve Puyer's family since the late 1800s, when the federal Dawes Act drove a wedge into Native communities to try to force them to assimilate and to give up their traditional ways.
See the house over there that we right over the hill? That's my brother, and this is my nephew, and then that white trailer house is my niece.
Generations of Puyers have lived here, but none had ever seen the wild 72-hour weather swing that triggered the floods. First came torrential rain, then a bomb cyclone that dumped snowdrifts over 5 feet high. But the real shocker came overnight: warmth.
It was like, I would say 50 or 60 degrees outside, and I knew it was coming.
You knew it was going to be trouble.
I've lived here for 30 years, and I knew we're in for a big flood. Something big's happening right now.
Is this climate change?
It has to be. I'm 57 years old now. The last 3 years is totally different from the other 54 years, and it's worse. One extreme to the other.
That's not normal.
That's not normal.
What is normal, Puyer says, is the government's reaction to the crisis.
I don't think they'll do anything.
You guys are on your own.
I think so.
Alone, but not without resources. Help is coming as the community pitches in. Now, more than a month after the flood, there is still a desperate need for even the basics: fresh water and cleaning supplies. The tribe's most reliable rescuers are horses, often the only way to get residents through floodwaters. And now donors are feeding them, too.
What do we have here?
We got stuff to take out.
Back at the solar school, the cleanup has taken on greater urgency. Faced with another round of snow and snow melt, the Red Clouds still hope to get their school restarted within weeks.
We got a month to work day and night and just keep plugging away, and we got—
It's gonna happen?
Yes, we got people coming in to help us, yeah. And we got some of our own good friends that want to help us. People out there.
They labor under the watchful eye of the family patriarch, Chief Red Cloud, who led the tribe during the last great flood here more than 100 years ago. His faith in this land and in his people help the community to recover that time. This time, Pine Ridge turns to a higher power, reaching for new energy to rise again. At the Pine Ridge Reservation, for Matter of Fact, I'm Joey Chen.
The Oglala Sioux tribe declared its own state of emergency and is appealing directly to FEMA for disaster relief funds. The process could take months, though, because the tribal council says they don't have the resources to conduct the damage assessments they need to submit to FEMA. Tribal leaders want President Trump to declare an emergency to speed up the recovery process.